Hi, friends. Welcome back. This is Solomon Jagwe. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another quick insight and mini tutorial. Guys, if you're new to my channel, I kindly ask that you spare a minute to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're alerted when I post a new video. And thank you so much to everybody else who has subscribed and for your kind support for liking the videos and sharing. So today we're going to be talking about, before I say what we're going to be talking about today, I want to give a shout out to my third patron. This is something that I did as like a test. Actually, one of you asked me, no, Solomon, do you have a Patreon account? And I was like, that's a good question because I'd never really tried Patreon. And so I went ahead and created one, and he was the first one that joined as one of these three patrons. And he had an awesome idea. He said, man, if only all your subscribers did like $1, you could get like $6,000. Now, wouldn't that be awesome? That would help me like make more tutorials, set aside more time to do more insights. But I'm doing this also to help all my storytellers out there and fellow dreamers I'm sharing my skills that I've picked up along the way in this industry, and I'm always on the lookout for new things that are happening on the landscape, so I can share with you guys, so we can tell our stories more, I guess, realistically, more convincingly. So many ways, because we all have stories that are bubbling inside of us. All right, today we're going to be talking about this new update that came out recently. I got an email and it had this feature. It was talking about Genesis 8.1 release, and there were so many aspects to this, and I was like, I haven't had a chance to even test it out. So I wanted to try this. I wanted to get the Victoria model and the 8.1 model and test it out and see all the new features that they were talking about. They say they have improved facial expressions, the shaders, more depth and realism to the eyes, improved detail to the mouth areas. So I wanted to try that out. And this area here, this website, by the way, is I think nicely designed. Because in my previous life, I used to do website design. So when I see something really done well, I say hats off, much respect to the person who put this together. So I'm gonna be checking out these new features, and we're gonna try out in iRay to see, does this character actually live up to what we see in these renders? Because I see like these, like when you have like pitch files, this is awesome. I want to see if it actually looks like that, because this looks awesome. The renders look great. So let's see what it looks like in DAZ Studio. Okay. So I've loaded up this scene, and I have two models loaded in here. If you go to the very top and you click on Genesis 8 female, you're going to have two options. There's the Genesis 8 basic female, and then you have Genesis 8.1 basic female. So this right here on the right hand side, let me collapse this or expand it so you can see. This character right here is a Genesis 8 female character, okay? And that is the one on the right hand side. And then on the left hand side over here, we have Genesis 8.1, okay? So by default, when you first load 8.1 female, this subdivision level is going to be at around there. So if you were to load those two models together side by side and you try to compare, you would think there's actually a major difference. But if you turn down the subdivision level of 8.1 female, you notice that they are actually pretty close, in terms of the geometry, because this one has the same subdivision level as the one on the left. And as I looked around, I went and searched and looked for differences, in terms of the geometry, because if you're going to have this much detail, usually you want to have really good geometry underneath, and also, of course, use awesome normal maps, and the texture map has to be high resolution. And so that's where I was like, is it the geometry that is significantly different? But as you can, since it's an 8.1 release, I figured it shouldn't be that different. Then I noticed something else. So when I zoomed into the eyes, you see that? So this is Victoria, or sorry, not Victoria. This is Genesis 8. And then compared to the eyes of Genesis 8.1. And that's why you notice some slight differences, because inside you can see the shape of the eyes. And here there's something slightly different. Okay? Because you notice that there's one edge loop going all the way around on this eye. And on this side, there are additional edge loops. So that's when I knew, you know what? I think they added something else. And also, if you look right here, let's go to the tear line. So that is also slightly different. Tear line compared to this side. And this, you can actually see the definition. So when you are in iRay and you don't turn on this, so what I did, I turned on the wire shaded. That's how, let me see if I can do lit wireframe and then switch to wire shaded. That's when you see the differences. So I'm like, okay, so there is a difference between these two models. Even though the Genesis 8.1 model seems to have the subdivision level by default turned way up. Okay. And actually, even you notice there's a change in the interactivity, rather how responsiveness of the viewport. And that's because I I increase the subdivision level of this character. So just keep that in mind, guys, as you choosing, if you choose to increase the subdivision level, that it's going to slow down your machine, and it's going to depend on how good your machine is. Okay. So let me honor how they set it up. I'm going to increase the subdivision level back to 2, and we're going to check out to see how good this model is. Now that we know for sure that there is some differences in the geometry and also the eyes for sure, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the Genesis 8 model and make sure that the eyelashes are also turned off. All right, so we're only working with Genesis 8 over here. And let me see, make sure that all these are turned off. Okay, so we have only Genesis 8.1. So anyway, I had to share with you guys the investigation that I did to see if there were any differences. But now let's actually look at the texture maps and see how good this model is. So I'll go to NVIDIA iRay. Let's see how the texture looks. And on this basic model, okay, you can see, I mean, the pores, you can see the wrinkles, some slight, smile lines over there. And I think the more I looked at this model, I mean, it didn't impress me that much, to be honest, guys. It didn't. I wasn't too impressed. I was like, so what gives? What is it that it's supposed to be? Short of, I mean, looking at the eyes, because I could tell from that geometry that I looked at when I zoomed in real close. I could tell there was something different, and of course, it is the tear line that is improved, greatly improved, and of course, I think there's the occlusion layer, kind of similar to what they've done with the Character Creator 3 eyes. So in order for it to look realistic, so that's what they've done, and I noticed that this actually did make a difference. Okay, but the real difference to really, really appreciate the update in this model, the 8.1 basic female, is when you load Victoria 8.1. I think that's where you get to see the true differences and improvement. So I'm going to load Victoria here. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and delete this model. So we save on the resources. I'll also delete the 8.0 version. And I'm going to go to characters and let's scroll all the way down. And let's load Victoria 8.1. And I also have a camera already added, so I'm going to switch to that camera. I've set it to about I think 200 millimeters. I like the way the cinematic look that it gives. So I'm going to let this load, please. And I made a mistake, guys. Whatever you do, make sure your NVIDIA iRay is turned off before you load the character. Okay. So I've loaded Victoria 8.1, and it's interesting, because the model, the 8.1 basic, seems to be taller than Victoria. So Victoria might be maybe like, I don't know. I'm just guesstimating by maybe like 5'9", 5'6". I don't know. There's a number somewhere in there, but I can tell that it's definitely, I have to lower the camera to see the head of the Victoria character. So let's go to this character and let's zoom in. And so this is what I was referring to, guys. It's when you load Victoria 8.1 that you see the really, really good improvements in the skin texture, on the lips themselves. I mean, look at that, So that geometry underneath and the subdivision levels being up higher, it does make a difference to the quality. And you can see the pores on the skin, on the cheeks, and the subsurface scattering. Of course, that's iRay is great for that. And the eyes, they look beautiful. They look realistic. And I'm gonna let that cook for a little bit so we can see a little bit more. So that is where I think the power of this update can be truly appreciated. That is when you load the Victoria model that you can see the main differences. And definitely your lighting is going to make a big difference. So let me actually zoom out and let's improve. Let's add, let's see. I'm going to add some hair. Okay. And one thing that I recommend, there's in my render settings, right now I'm using the basic standard settings, but under the render settings, there's this part called the easy portrait. So if you want to render your characters to look really good, I recommend you download or you go to the DAZ 3D Marketplace and look for this easy portraits bundle. It offers a really, really good setup of lighting, and that's what you're looking at in the scene right now. So let me, for example, the light is coming from left to right. So they offer one that comes from right to left. Let me see if I can find that real quick. I think this one. Let's try this one. Look at that, guys. Isn't that beautiful? So that's what I was saying, that lighting makes a big difference when when you're looking at these models. Please improve on your lighting. If you don't do lighting well, you're gonna notice that the characters sometimes look flat. But once you have a good light setup, it's gonna bring out the highlights and the beauty of that. All right, so let's go to content, and up at the top, near in the anatomy section here, so where you have the Genesis 8 female, but there's anatomy under here. Okay, and under the anatomy folder, you're gonna find 8.1 Victoria 8.1 eyebrows. Let's double click on that. Now you get some geometry. Look at that. Okay, that's beautiful, guys. So I mean, it's things like that that change the appearance of a character. And let me rotate the camera a little bit. And what you're noticing, guys, is the reason why my machine is very responsive is I have two GPU cards in here. And so that also adds to the speed when you're rendering or previewing these things. But look at that, the quality of this model. I can't wait to actually render some facial animation with this model, because I know it's gonna look uber realistic. I am so happy. Okay, so we have that. Now there's something else they mentioned, and that's the pitch files, right? So that one is found under, again, anatomy, right? And it's called the Vellus Hair, 8.1 female Vellus Hair. And let's try to apply to the entire body. Now this is dangerous, so let me first turn off NVIDIA iRay, and let's double click on, make sure Victoria is selected, and let's add on the Vellus Hair. Double click on that. Okay, and the application doesn't take very long. And now we're gonna need to zoom in real close to see the difference. So go to NVIDIA iRay. Yes, wait and see. Okay, did you actually notice that, guys? Before, let me go back to small shaded. You can actually see the hairs. So let me go real close, and you can see the hairs. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So this is an awesome addition, and it's small things like these that make a difference when you're rendering a character, or if you're trying to do like an influencer of sorts. Look at that. And you need like, if you set it like in a shadow area, you can see the pitch fuzz really well, or the vellus hairs. That's what they call them. That's a new word. I'm learning vellus hairs, and you can see them there on the ears, on the forehead. That is really cool. And under here, under the settings for Victoria, if you drop down, you're gonna see the vellus, like abdominal hair, you can the cheeks. So for example, let's go to the nose vellus hairs, and if you go to general, let's see, make sure vellus nose hair is selected. Under the shaping, reduce hair length. So you can actually, let's go to the nose and zoom in very close to the nose, and let's adjust the hair so you can actually see. Okay, if you have that Vellus hairs that are long, you know what, that could be like a cool way, like if you're transforming a character and look at all the Vellus hairs. Let's see what it looks like under in NVIDIA iRay. Come on, NVIDIA, don't be shy. Okay. So you can see the vellus hairs, and I think let me take it back all the way down up to like 150%. So that is the realistic hair length that they expect. So it's 150. And what is this now? Let's see, expand all. You don't want to do that. That's crazy. All right, let's go back. So I think it was at let's undo, Control Z, Control Z. So at that's the default level, and that's where it should be. So you can adjust those in the mouth, the ears, the cheeks, the sacral, vellus hair. So this is really good. So the character looks beautiful, looks great. So, and let me see, I want to give us some hair and see how that looks. But overall, I think I'm convinced that yes, the models, the character that you see, like all these things that you see in here, they do look like that inside of DAZ Studio. And it's the important thing is gonna be lighting. If you really want to see the differences, make sure your lighting is on point, because without it, you won't be able to see the differences. But you can see the hair fuzz, Vellus hair. Isn't that cool? You can see the eyes. This looks beautiful. So team DAZ 3D, you guys, you've done a good job, and I can't wait to animate this character and add more elements to it. Let me switch to smooth shaded. Let's add some hair. I'll use the mouth fashion stylized bob. Let's make sure I've selected Victoria at the very top. Double click on the bob and materials. Let's give this nice like that. All right, and they've on the materials. So under Victoria, let's go to this is hair. Victoria 8.1. Let's get out of anatomy. And Genesis 8 female. Make sure I have not hair. Under materials. No, sorry. Let's go to characters and then look for Victoria 8.1 and under materials. So they have these amazing materials that you can add, and also the entire stack of 8.1 materials is up here. You can change the eyes because right now we have, let's go to NVIDIA iRay. You can actually see the normal maps in there. That's really cool. Okay, so you can change to have the guy's eyes as green. Look at that. You can change the eyes to brown. And then you can also change the different materials like for makeup. Let's try this one. Let's try this one. Oh, look at that, guys. Another really cool addition that they've added to Genesis 8.1, guys, is of course the face controls. Whereas before we had to buy a separate module for that. So here's where you find it. You go to up at the top here on Genesis 8 female under the developer kit. So right here is where you find the Genesis 8.1 female face controls. Double click on that and they are loaded. So in iRay, you might not see them, but if you go to smooth shaded, there they are. And let's actually play a little bit with this. And so for example, for this, let's see, can I do a smile? Like so, shh. Okay, let's put that back. And let's see, that's blowing. So before we had a challenge because when the previous face controls, you actually had to just add them yourself to the head. But right now, this comes already prepared and I guess linked already to the head. So when you double click on from this folder here, double click on this and apply to the character, it automatically adds it to the right head bone and face bone, so that you can control this. So let's see if we can. I wanted to see if I can make the character, that's the head. We don't want that. Okay. And when you click on it, you can see mouth down over here. Let's see. Okay. So, I mean, just go through, guys, and play with this. But clearly, the controls have been improved and they are right there on the interface. You don't have to worry about having to link it yourself. And there's the smile. And let me see if I can actually, let's see for the eye controls. And there's the fleshy eyes. Oh my gosh. Let's look, let's zoom in so you can actually see that, guys. Look at that. That is awesome. So let's turn it to look at that and let's change to NVIDIA iRay. So there's the slight smile of Victoria 8.1. So guys, again, that is here. Those are the things that I wanted to point out that have been added to the new 8.1 update. The pitch fuzz, the texturing on the face, the eyes, the tear line, and all those things that just add realism to the character. And above all, of course, you have to pay attention to your lighting. It won't look right if you don't have the correct lighting. So please pay attention to that. Now, if you notice that right now the facial controls are not there. I think previously the other face controls were visible. They were rendered alongside the mesh itself, but this one is actually automatically hidden. Let's go back to smooth shaded. All right, so I think this should wrap up my insight today and mini tutorial, guys. So I think Victoria 8 is worth investing. Victoria 8.1 is worth investing in because you're gonna get the quality that we didn't have before. This is amazing. This is a really awesome update, guys. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you benefited from my insight, and please spare a minute to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're alerted when I post a new video. And if you have a few dollars to spare and you want to buy me a coffee, please consider uh, becoming a patron. The link is going to be in the description of this video, and you can definitely go to this link, Patreon /Solomon W Jagwe, and consider becoming a patron. And please don't forget to subscribe, guys. Thank you so much for your feedback and all the questions. I try to read as many of them as possible, and I'll always do my best to reply and answer anything. And if there's if I notice something that is consistent through all the videos, then I'll make a video out of it. And as always, please stay safe. Don't give up on your dreams, and let's take advantage of these tools that are coming up on the landscape to tell our stories. And please stay safe in this pandemic. I'm praying for you guys. Thank you so much, and stay blessed, and bye for now.